Welcome back to Cheche, the program where opinion counts. The Deputy Director of Police Reforms, Kingo'ri Mwangi, is our guest today. And we've been talking about reforms, and you were telling us about your institutional deficits, in terms of cars, staffing.
Yes.
But of course, you've also served in the police for a while. Yeah. We'll just touch on your record. And you've served in various capacities.
Yes.
There was also a lot of opposition to your appointment to the reforms docket.
Yes,
You never responded to those. Why not?
One, I would call them busybodies, because one, it was not an appointment, it was a transfer. And the same people, when I was a delegate at the Bomas of Kenya, number 624, and some people thought it was very dangerous for me as a policeman to go there. They were not there. So some people did not even understand what is the police reforms. Through our journey in the police service, unfortunately, we do have some malicious people who, some of them I suspect are colleagues, who use other people to actually tarnish other people's names.
Okay. So these are busybodies, including the NGOs who are prepared to go to court to ask for your removal.
Excuse me, very good. There is a time I held a press conference. I was in Kakamega and I said, let one prove me one long thing I've ever done, and I will resign. None of them went. If anything, some people defamed us, some media houses. We went to court, and everybody will have a day in court.
Okay.
Because, I'll give you an example. Some very bad things. Like TJLS. Some people like to teach TJLSC talking about the Wagara massacre in 1984. I was not even a policeman. And somebody says, let Kingo'ri answer that.
Okay.
Some people go and say there was an incident internally in 1982. That time I was in the School of Journalism. How could I had not even served allowed there? So you can see the kind of...
So those are specific incidents that
yes.
you responded to. There are
yes.
other incidents that call into question your integrity.
Yes.
Your service
yes.
when you were in Western Province.
Yes.
You were reportedly transferred
yeah.
because you couldn't contain the insecurity there.
Yes, but let me tell you, madam, what happened. When the police, when the golf club lad was excisioned, and that's where now the provincial police headquarters is, our previous lad, PPO's office, OSPD and OCS, were taken over by KANU. This is a fact. And then part of the lad was sold. One time, the same person who acquired it threatened to come and demolish some of our house. We carried out an investigation. And actually, I can tell you, Honorable James Olego cancelled that title. I have never experienced such viciousness by some people, who then used some politicians to attack me. You see, I'm very proud. I can look at them in the face and I tell them,
so
I'm
you
not
think you were transferred because of your tussle over the land?
No. I was not transferred because of that. But in fact, the Asian who was shot and killed, he was a personal friend of mine. He was a personal friend.
So why were you transferred, in fact? You seem to be dropping something here and another here. I mean, about the land, and about this Asian friend of yours. And I know at the point when you left Western, there was a lot of pressure from local politicians, MPs there, who are crusading against you.
There was only
what
one.
Was the whole issue about?
There's only one who was crusading against me. And I do not want to be personal.
But why?
Honestly, I have no idea, because since then, the situation have never changed, so to speak. But I can say proudly, when I was in Western Kenya...
I am not a politician, I am a journalist.
Yes.
But looking at you here,
yes.
sitting here,
yes.
and remembering going back that you are PPO Mombasa.
Nairobi, Mombasa, of course, yes. Yes.
And you are part of the system.
Yes.
And the way you are reacting now to today,
yes.
How can you be a force of change? How can you reform? You are part of the problem.
But explain how I'm part of the problem.
Because you've been in the system all the time. So it's not possible for you to change. Well, I put it to you, cannot change. Because you have been there, you have enmeshed yourself, as you can see, you have been in Mombasa, you have been in Nairobi.
Yes.
Put it simply,
yes.
What is it you can say that you have achieved that makes you qualified to be Inspector General? In terms of change, because that's what Kenyans want to change.
I've been tested and proved the light. Look, when I was a PPO in Nairobi, let's start from there. I'm the one who started, and you can check with the university. The riots in the university, no one student was ever shot or injured during my time. Don't forget, I'm the one who was able to hold the 2005 twin rally of the banana and the olive. No one person was injured. These are some achievements and people do not appreciate. You can look at the reverse of it. If I had mismanaged it. No, let's go on. When I was in Coast Province, there's something which happened away from the media eyes, the Kiuga operation of the foreign fighters in 2007, early 2007. All those people who came, you've never had one person saying that all the foreign fighters were arrested, including Sharif, the gentleman who went ahead and became the acting president of Somalia. None of them have ever complained of his human rights abuse. You can check your record. When I was at PPO Coast, the Tana River crashes happened once. We sorted it out. It didn't happen until the other day again.
Let's go back to the coast, though. Your record at the coast.
But me, as far as I'm concerned, those things he's calling, it's part of the duty. It's normal, routine. No, you didn't go any extra mile. You just did whatever you're supposed to do. So that cannot be said, and I'm proud that I did that.
Right.
Because that's what we are supposed to do. I won't have expected you to tell me I did something exemplary.
Mutegi, with all due respect, I did not come here to try to convince people to give me certain position. I came in response to your letter. So if we keep it within that limit, I mean, I'll be comfortable.
Okay.
Because it would be indecent for me to use this program to try to campaign for certain positions.
We're not asking you to campaign. We're asking you because there's several questions
but we are within
about your record.
Please
and
ask.
as David was about to say, we're within our rights.
We're within our rights to ask you things which have to do with your work and the service
that you're rendering to the Kenyan public. Now, you mentioned your record at the coast, but there are also questions about your time at the coast. And the allegation is that you were a bit too close to the drug barons. Drugs disappeared under your watch, and the people were killed under your watch.
We had discussed that here. The DCO port, when he was shot and killed, I was the PPO Nairobi, Abdullahi. And then, incidentally, I was transferred from Coast Province on a Wednesday. The colleagues who unfortunately were shot and killed on a Saturday, Mr. Leon Yongesa was the PPO Coast. But because people remember my name, they said it was me who was there. Not that even if I was there, maybe things would have been different. And incidentally, I've read the Lendberger report, and it does not mention me. And I hope you have had a copy. Where it mentions, in allusion, PPOs are close to some of these people. And this matter, some of it are already in court because they were very defamatory.
But okay, all the same, you worked as a PPO in Coast.
Yes.
Mombasa has become a major conduit port for drug trafficking. Mombasa itself really has a lot of that going on. Drugs are used all over the place. There have been protests by women about the children becoming vegetables because of drug use. When you were there, what did you find the problem to be, and how did you deal with it?
Let me say this: I did not only serve in Coast as a PPO. I served as a OCS in Baburi. And I also served as an OSPD in Malindi. So my record is not just as a PPO.
Right.
Yeah. And regarding the issue of drugs, we used to deal with issues as they were raised. I remember one time, early 2007, we received an information, a certain container which had come and was supposed to be suspicious. And we wanted to open it. Then we received other reports saying, I think it had come from Egypt. We were told it was containing some chicken feed food, and there was a problem there was a threat of chicken flu. So all the stakeholders met, and a decision was made to re-export it. There was a lot of suspicion regarding that container. But in the next 3 months, we were having the 35th International Athletic Association Championship in Mombasa, and we had told in the event it was to be open, and that is it Asian flu was to hit the air, it would affect even the way so to that extent, it is not you as a police officer who actually, you are only part of the decision-making process, including RFIs, including KRI, including veterinary department. So you sit there as a committee, and then you are devised from a technical point of view. Yes.
No, but I mean, drug trafficking is happening in Coast.
I'm not saying
what's going on?
I'm not saying it is not happening.
Yeah. I mean, but tell us details of what happened. How does it happen?
During my time.
The question he asked is this: the challenge was there.
Yes.
You are the PPO. You are OCS. You are all that.
Yes.
What was it you saw that was there that you could not sort? Why is it you could not sort it out?
I'm not saying there is any we could not sort out, but there is something where some people misunderstood and they use it against me. You remember, even the Prime Minister's loud table conference regarding doing business, the issue of roadblocks have always been a major problem in Kenya. People complaining there were too many roadblocks. When we went to Coast Province, there were too many roadblocks. And one of them we discussed with the commissioner then, January, and we agreed that they be removed. Some people raised issues and said, he's removing so that smuggling can happen and all that. We said, look, unless you can, we started by auditing and saying, this roadblock, give us the offenses you've detected in the last 6 months. That is what we did. And we actually found very little offenses which had been detected. We realized maybe offenses were happening at that roadblocks, like you may know, some people complaining that they are being extorted and all that. And so we said, remove them.
But you're not answering the question of drugs.
No.
The question of drugs is this. There is a problem with drug use and trafficking in Mabata.
It is.
You've been an OCS, OSPD,
yes.
PPO there.
Yes.
What did you do about it?
No, we arrested the ones that were detected. And
Akasha is always there. And everybody knows Akasha. He was shot in Amsterdam.
Yes.
Why did you not arrest Akasha?
Well, for the period that was OCS Baburi, his residence was not under my jurisdiction. By the time I was PPO Coast, he was dead. so you cannot ask me. Why didn't I arrest somebody who've already been married?
Kingo'ri, let's now move the ball from coast along to Kenya.
Yes,
I mean, drug trafficking is a big issue in this country.
Yes.
The police are every time accused of complicity in the drugs, either covering up criminals, colluding with them, or participating in the trade. That some police officers have actually become wealthy because they're beneficiaries of drug money. We know, of course, the case of the brutal murder of Chimorei, which still smokes. The police did not handle this matter well. What is the role, what is the participation of the police in this drug business? Why are they able to stop it?
Let me say this one because regarding GSU, I wasn't serving GSU, but there are certain ridiculous allegations which have been made. I'm a police officer. You ask any police officer on the street whether you've ever had a superintendent or senior superintendent carrying a key to the armory. It doesn't happen. It is not only in Kenya, in all Commonwealth countries, you will not find a senior officer carrying a key to the armory. To start with, building a case on one falsehood, I mean, I don't want to get there. The only key where a senior officer may carry the key to the armory is there are some divisions where there may be the PPU's armory inside there, the OSPD, and then the OCS. But for you to access, you must have.
Kingo'ri, you're addressing something that we're not talking about.
No. I answered a specific question.
Well, that you're citing the case of Chimorei. I'm sure where you're saying they had a key to the armory, took out arms, and went and did what and not. But I mean, of course, it's a fact by Kingo'ri that Chimorei was killed by police officers.
Yes, he did.
Are you denying that?
Yes. No.
He was killed by police officers. And he was killed in relation to that drug haul, 6 billion drug haul. Is that also not a fact?
That is part of the matter that which have been sued in court for defamation. And I would not want to assist those people who are sued in terms of their defense.
No. We're not talking about the individuals who are named in the stories published by the other TV station. We're just saying that it's a fact that the Chimorei was killed by fellow police officers. The details can be disputed. And he was killed in relation to that drug, struggle around that drug haul.
Now, what I cannot sit here and say is whether he was or he was not. So let us agree. I don't.
You don't seem to be convincing our viewers. Somebody texts, be informed that you're interviewing somebody who, while serving as a PPO, no junior officer could arrest a drug trafficker. So at the moment, the questions we're asking around drugs, the viewers also seem to have the same questions, and I'm not convinced by your responses.
Well, good, Mutegi, there is no way even an OSPD can stop a junior officer from executing his duty, because should you do that, like me, I've been very firm. That officer would go and testify against you and say, you called me and told me don't do this.
But that happened every day. I mean, what are you telling us?
Okay.
Forget the law.
Another example from Lijodi, I think in Western Kenya. Kingo'ri did not arrest and prosecute a certain well-known thug in Kakamega called Toto. The thug even dared him in public in his presence. Why didn't he prosecute him?
Toto, I know the gentleman, he owns several matatus. due to political division in Western Kenya, Mara, he is said to be on this side and on that. So some people, even if somebody calls you a criminal and you've not been caught committing a criminal, I mean a crime, honestly, I don't see.
Even if there are police reports naming you, accusing you
what
of criminal activity.
No, what he did, he used to challenge us in public. People are not used to police being challenged and accepting. If somebody starts and he's rude to police officers, that does not amount to committing a crime. Toto could be rude to
yes, but the
many
first part
officers.
of this is that he was a well-known thug, which presumably means that there must have been criminal reports filed against him.
May I say a lot of investigation was done around him, but none, for the period I was there, I don't think he ever committed a crime that I came to know about it. And I hope you can invite him for this show.
I think
yes.
It looks like we are going in circles.
Yeah.
We are going round in circles. Makali has asked you about drug dealing in this country.
Yes.
And whether the police are involved and what the police have done about it. You have not said anything at all.
Let me see the drug dealing in this country from the point of view I know is that one is a criminal offense. Officers has been investigating. I will not rule out individual officers getting compromised by those drug balance. I will not rule out. It would not be fair even to anybody. But this is the same way that maybe a Shanga dealer also compromises our officers. But in terms of the drug, of course, the impact is much higher. So I would imagine even the stakes are usually much higher. Yeah.
Do you think then, given that you submitted your application for the post of Inspector General, that you would survive the vetting process, you would survive the integrity test?
Unless it is not what is done to other people, I don't see why I wouldn't. Because already within that submission, there are 6 documents which are vetting process. Unless somebody tells me what is vetting.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll have to take a break now and come back on that question. When Cheche returns, we find out about the security plan for next year's elections.